books in your life, because now is the time. Now is the time. You're gonna do it later on, you're gonna figure out you forgot. And you're gonna be like, damn, what was that book called again? You're gonna figure out you forgot.
Islamism. For those that don't know, I got the Havana, Cuba Pan-American Conference study. And we have a lot of different videos on there that gets into detail. But I came across this in regards to the conference 1928, and they start exposing it wasn't smooth sailing for the U.S. when they went to this Havana, Cuba. Havana meets Veils, real problems. And they start getting on to them telling on the U.S. Appeal of Cuban party exposes Wall Street's aims. So they was exposing them. Wall Street, real enemy. The party of Cuba is not opposed to the Pan-American Conference as such. That conference would be good if it provided a forum for expressing freely the interest of the peoples of America. In that case, make sure y'all can see this. In that case, it would be an anti-imperialist conference, because the common enemy of South American people and even of the United States itself is the imperialist capitalism of Wall Street, supported and protected by the policy of the White House. But the very presence of the cunningly selected U.S. delegation, composed of full-fledged representatives of the Yankee oligarchy and open enemies of South America, the very presence of Coolidge, whose sinister policy of expansion, remember we talked about the expansion of the slave states, is well enough known. Quite clearly what the character and consequences of this conference will be. Coolidge is a Pan-American of that school of Pan-Americanism, which proclaimed the principle of no intervention on the part of any European state in the internal affairs of the states of America. And we went over the Kellogg Pact, the perpetual peace of all nations, and they're not supposed to intervene with other nations within America. Again, there was 52 different societies within America at this Pan-American Conference, and 25 different nations. There's 25 different nations within North America and South America in 1928. So again, we'll go over the internal affairs. Coolidge is a Pan-American of that school of Pan-Americanism, which proclaimed the principle of no intervention on the part of any European state in the internal affairs of the states of America, because they can't intervene. So yeah, this is the Pan-American Conference 1928 in regards to Noble Drew Ali and what happened there. You know, they already knew that, again, Wall Street was the real enemy, because itself is an imperialist capitalism of Wall Street, supported and protected by the policy of the White House. And that's what they were speaking about. So when Coolidge got there, Noble Drew Ali started demonstrating, and it was over with. Again, you can't say that Noble Drew Ali wasn't there, because look at all these Europeans with their legs crossed, bro.
On the left, you have Noble.
Because they was delegates. That's the United States leg resting on the root of the Moorish American leg. You see how he got the Moorish American leg on the right, the U.S. on the left, us facing him. You know, that's the U.S. leg resting upon the Moorish Empire. But nonetheless, the Kellogg Pact, the perpetual peace, is what was agreed upon. And again, you didn't have to even be a signatory. You could either give your oral agreement while you was at the conference, or you send it to the Secretary of State. In regards to the Kellogg Compact, the perpetual peace of all nations of the world. And everybody agreed, all the European nations were signatories. But the Moorish nation didn't have to be a signatory, because they wasn't at war over the Moorish Empire. All them was. They took out the Moors, then started fighting each other for the Moorish Empire. But yeah, we have, 10 different videos in regards to the Pan-American Conference. Indeed. So we'll go over this a little more, but I got to where I wanted to get about the internal affairs of other nations within the American soil, these Europeans. And I just put up the post about United States of America said they borrowed that name from the United States of Netherlands. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Wall Street's the real enemy. Hypocrisy revealed. Such is in brief the record of services accomplished for the master, who now comes to our country to receive attentions and to give his patent the back to the faithful servitor. This is the significance of the Pan American Conference and the visit of Coolidge. And while hypocrisy and wickedness hold sway, while the cunning greed of the imperialist center embraces the traitorous selfishness of false leaders of the colonial slaves, and despite of the current situation, what will you do? People of Cuba, you will be impotent, hungry, wild with rage, eating your heart out with misery and mission. You know what I'm saying? This is it's a pretty lengthy reading. But yeah, we already knew what happened at the Pan American Conference though. Because again, 10 years before Noble Drew Ali went to the Havana Conference, Marcus Garvey went to get the African Mandate, as they call it. But we already went over that. So yeah, the Pan American Conference, everybody knew that Wall Street was the real enemy. But you see, this newspaper was calling those that was telling the truth Communist Party. That's why I skipped it. The party of Cuba is not opposed to the Pan American Conference as such. That conference would be good if it provided a forum for expressing freely the interest of the peoples of America. And you best believe Noble Drew Ali, when he was there, he expressed his interest and he expressed the oppression that different nations within North America was committing. Anti-imperialist conference, because the common enemy of South American people and even of the people of the United States itself is the imperialist capitalism of Wall Street. They knew it. They didn't want nothing to do with no Coolidge, bro. Supported and protected by the policies of the White House. True indeed.
Before I yield the floor, I wanted to show the cover picture they had. And this is Coolidge singing hymns while his army is killing what they called Nicaraguans. You know what I'm saying? They knew he was a de facto piece of shit. And those Nicaraguans, when you go look at them, they had on the same headdress as Noble Drew Ali too. In the playlist, I showed where President Machado, who was there, the president of Cuba, was with his wife. And I hinted to where her hat looked like. I said, that's a beautiful Cuban hat. And if you go look at Noble Drew Ali's headdress and go look at Machado's wife's hat, you can see, man, she may have crowned him. You know what I'm saying? Because these people are de facto. And we already did the demonstration in regards to the Europeans trying to act in the capacity of the Moors during the Madrid Treaty because they didn't show up at the conference. And there was another conference that I just put up a post where the Moors wasn't there again. So Noble Drew Ali had to show up at this Pan American Conference. And also the 25% tax, everything that goes through the ports, 25% of it was supposed to be held into a safe, as they called it, or a case. And it was supposed to be given for the maintenance of the empire. And that was probably supposed to go to the Moors. I know Noble Drew Ali was there to collect, indeed, Islamism. Without nationality. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice.
There's a shotgun in my face.
Drew Ali.
Fighting just to live.
Islamism.
The shotgun.